So you moved to Oregon, you were looking for a new start, and you actually joined my digital marketing workgroup because you had that social media experience. And I know that it took you a little bit to hit the ground running, but really you joined in December and it's March. So tell everyone like what went down with your journey there.
When I moved here, me and everyone I know, like my whole tribe, we were like, okay, how do we get you online? Well, I tried. I went through avenues that I thought were legit. And every time I turned the corner, it was like, oh, well, this is a scam, because you'd go to the website, it wouldn't be right. You would contact them and get some weird email, right? Or they're asking for more information and you hadn't even kind of started the process. And so I followed in your work group for 2 years, just like slowly like working myself up, because as strong as I feel like I am on a day to day, my confidence in like trying to find an avenue that was 100% legit, like it breaks your soul down, because then you're like, I really just can't do this. But then I had a mutual friend who was in your group, and she helped teach me what was real and was truthful and like just transparent about the whole process. And so I was like, okay, I'm in, I'll just do it. Yeah. And so I just went for it, and it has been the best decision I've ever made. I started in December. I had to replace 40 hours a week and a specific income to be able to make this a reality for me on a regular basis. It's now March, and I just signed my third client. And so I'm working anywhere from 5 to going to be up to 28 hours a week. So
Yeah.
I kind of have like a nice range there, and I'm about $7 to $10 away from my goal. So it has taken some time.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, yup, I'm gonna get this in a week. I'm gonna have tons of clients. It's gonna be fine. And then it was like week 2 or month 2, and I'm like, oh, did I make the right decision? I'm not sure that anybody likes me. I had a few discovery calls, and I was a little bit blindsided by how they were interviewing me, because it wasn't like a typical in-office interview. They wanted to know who I was and how I have learned my skills, how long had I been online, and I was honest about it. I have assisted many business owners for the past 12 years on their social media, on their business tasks, their emails. I mean, you name it. It's administrative tasks. And I've jumped on the administrative task train within our group. And that has been my, not necessarily niche, because it's way broader than that. You're doing multiple tasks at multiple times: research, social, active campaign, Zapier, things that I never knew existed before getting on this platform.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just new. And that pace for me is my like train that I like being on. That correct speed is new things day to day. What am I getting in myself into, while also being responsible for myself, and my output is shown instantly. So instead of like going and like putting all of these projects together and doing all these things for one person, I'm doing it for 3 individuals, and now they see the value in my work every single time. And that has been a huge game change for me. And
Yeah,
then
I like this early on for you, because you get to date the clients, and because you're so new, date the work and figure out what you like and grow from there. And yeah, I mean, some people, the dream might be to be completely loyal with one client and keep things simple, but early on, I think this is part of the growing process, right? And then you have your eggs in different baskets. So if something doesn't work out, you're like covered. And you might level up. You might be to the point where one day you are like project manager for like a 7-figure team, and that's your thing, but you're going to work your way up there. So I'm glad you shared that part of it, because I believe that is crucial. Unless somebody's coming into the world having tons of experience, tons of specialization, and like a good reputation already built up, like then they kind of like just go off,
right.
But starting new, this is what it looks like. And I'm so thankful that you're sharing this story, because I want to be transparent. Like, I don't want people to think it's a get rich, like happen instantly thing. And I want to kind of go back to that month where you weren't booking things, and like kudos to you for being courageous and putting your name out there. But like, can you talk a little bit about what was going on there and what you were seeing, and like maybe what you wished you had done different or what you wished you had known? Like, I just kind of want to pick that apart because we have a lot of women here in the group who are thinking about starting, and I don't want to sugarcoat it for them, but I want them to know they can work through this part.
Right, right. So it was hard. I jumped in head first, no diving skills, okay? And it was hard. I had to ask more people more questions than I was comfortable with. I should have gone the route of taking your class. I should have gone the route of doing the pre-work because like you said, I was starting at ground zero. I had only slightly gathered information. My resume was sound, so at least I had that in my back pocket.
Yeah, it was.
First off, that's a lot of people ask me for my resume in this platform for administrative assistants. I don't know why, but it's not about portfolios. It's like, what are your tasks? What can you do? What can you do for me? What can we do together? I wish I would have known pricing. I'm still struggling with that. I'm working on it every day. I'm still learning in this platform and I love learning these new things. So it has really, really helped. I watched every single video I could get my hands on. I reached out. If I didn't understand something, it took me weeks and hours, man hours of putting together my community of individuals who could help me learn, who could teach me how to ask the right questions so that I can get the right answers myself. Huge community, huge amount of individuals that want to help you, including yourself. Like, I'm so thankful for your guidance at all times. But without it, without my community within your group and within you, and including my own family and tribe, I don't know that I would have ever made this successful move for myself. But again, it has been hard work. I wish I would have known one program.
Okay.
So whether it was Active Campaign, if it was Zapier, if it was WordPress, Kajabi, ConvertKit, any of these programs that I'm just now learning, I wish I would have known one. But going to your school, going to your workshop, you have these set out lesson plans that are helpful in these avenues. So that's one thing I wish I would have done. I wish I would have figured out a way to be able to go within that. But I'm not always on the right path, right? So I just head first, right into it.
I need to explain this for a second. Anyone watching, Emily has not taken the Unicorn Digital Marketing Assistant School. She jumped head first, like she said, no diving skills, something like this. And she just jumped right in. And she kind of, if I'm putting words in your mouth, stop me, but like thought you were ready and kind of learned the hard way that you weren't. And that's okay because you were invested, you had a community to support you and help you figure it out, and you did things backward, which is totally a way people can do it. It's harder starting out on your own when nobody knows who you are and you don't have the skills. And like you said, I think the thing that made you desirable is you have the real in real life experience. So when I see some young ones out there teaching about being a VA and they haven't ever really worked a real job, I'm like, okay, like that makes me scratch my head. Like I probably wouldn't hire you there, but like you can lean into that part. And I remember talking to you and you were telling a story and I was like, maybe we had been texting, but I was like, lean into that, use that story as an example of how you will figure things out to impress the client, because ultimately that's what they want. Someone who has like the gumption, the tenacity, the perseverance to just figure it out. And clearly you had that, like clearly you did.
And if you can show them who you are on a video conference, they're more likely to hire you. Now, not always. Like I struck out 3-4 times before I finally landed my first client, and it was tough.
Yeah. But practice, right? You get better.
Practice. Keep watching videos. Watch how other people communicate with each other on screen, Facebook Lives, things like that. And a lot of it was just keeping my eye on my own camera and focusing on them. And like you said, let the business owner talk about themselves so that you both can get a feel of who each other are. And so you can make the best decision for yourself.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then you're dispelling so many fears right now, or when you're on a call, because you're face to face. And I mean,
Yes,
what's the ultimate thing that they're the most scared of? They'll hire a bad fit or someone will scam them. And the bad fit can be replaced, you're out on time, but like the scam could be detrimental. So like by showing up, um, and having that like ability to like communicate and have this so emotional intelligence, right? Like
right.
you are like above the crowd already.
Yeah,
You
and
see it
having
from the beginning.
confidence in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. And I'm glad you shared that. I'm glad that you took that story and made it beneficial, made it communicate your value, articulate your value, because ultimately that's what they needed, right? That
Right.
figure outable skill set. And
Oh, yeah.
even though you're newer, you can lean into that. And not everybody wants to hire someone brand new. I mean, straight up, sometimes
Right.
they don't. And you're going to run across that, and that's not your fault.